Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank the ICES 2022 committee for initiating this activity to information management faculty, UITM, Chulalongkorn University, Thailand, and Universitas Indonesia for allowing us to present the result of our study. This year's fifth international conference on information science raised a big theme, namely surviving the pandemic, reshaping the role of information, the pandemic, reshaping the role of information professionals, which we'll do at the Royal Chulan Hotel, Pulau Pinang, Malaysia on September 19 until 21, 2022. Thus, I'm Susanti Agustina, Ph.D. researchers at Information Management Faculty of UITM, together with my supervisor, uh, Professor Madya Dr. Wan Satira Juan Muhammad Saman and Dr. Nursila Saifuddin will deliver the result of our study entitled Quranic Concordance for Bibliotherapy based on blood group types. This study was the other side of the findings in the field when I was researching for a dissertation. I found that data from a client document as participants need to organize. As a professional librarian competent in organizing information has uh, a moral responsibility to manage the information cycle. Moreover, after the pandemic, much data from document with healing value, such as a client Quranic bibliotherapy Tadabbur journal, is essential to manage. The following is an illustration that describes a person's mental health condition and the Quranic bibliotherapy process to produce narratives and verses from the Quran, all are organized into a word guide in writing verses from the Quran for bibliotherapy. So let's check it out. This one. I'm preparing the presentation. Okay. When people face life problem, they wait. Yeah. When people face life problem, they feel anxious, afraid, sad, and confused. Then people seek Allah Almighty and ask Allah for instruction through the holy book of the Quran, and they instantly feel calm and at peace. With that calmness and peace, people problem feel light and easy, even finished. However, everything only you feel it. If you success in gaining that calm and peace in shared with others and becomes an inspiration, it will also help others. What you tell Allah, you retell to others. The experience of getting clues to answers from the Quran you write in journal for others to read. Others who experience similar problem to you will feel connected, related, and relatable to the narrative and verses of the Quran. Moreover, generate a new meaning back that helps others, and so on. Connecting people with stories and utilizing Quranic information from individual generated information cycles. Every narrative of life turn out to have a theme. The theme will continue to exist as long as human life. Organizing it to be used as an information cycle as a healing medium through concordance is the idea that underlies the preparation of word guide links in searching for Quranic verses for bibliotherapy. In Concordance, people search and getting a note through keyword or documents. This keyword is called context. The context will connect the Quran as a bibliotherapy medium from the content of spontaneously Quranic verses obtained by individuals. Spontaneity gives the impression that transcendental communication with the Creator exists. Spontaneity also gives surprises as if Allah Almighty give an honest answer as it is. Developing the chronic concordance, including the peculiarities of each blood type pattern as human biological information, change people' point of view of their life stories. The patterns in the narrative of human life have similarities with each other. The shortcomings of this study lie in the linguistic context that may give rise to meaning bias because this concordance developed in the context of Indonesian. The meaning of the narrative patterns of each blood type and Quranic verses are limited way within the cultural scope of Indonesian life. The researchers do not have control over gender, race, religious understanding, race, educational background, and reading and writing literacy of the client, all purely as is on the result of the client's Quranic journaling. Not only that, the coding process still relies on researchers' intuition, but NVivo software help us to make it easy to determine the theme and evidence of the narrative through nodes. The main issue discussed in this paper is Quranic bibliotherapy based on human blood type. Quranic bibliotherapy is the art of connecting people with stories, poem, prose, and interacting with verses of the Quran. The process of Quranic bibliotherapy produced many contexts of life narratives related to Quranic verses. We are coding the context of the Quran narratives using LSE, latent semantic analysis method, to produce keyword in the context, or quick KWIC. These keywords are organized and arranged alphabetically in conjunction with the Quranic verses that a person obtained when performing the Quranic bibliotherapy journaling process. The result of wording in such context is called concordance. The concordance of Quranic verses and keyword in this context is essential as an information resource that can use a lighter in a bibliotherapy session. Client can perform information search based on available keyword relevant to the experience of the same problem. The Quranic verses become a medium for reflection and classically or self-help bibliotherapy. The essence of bibliotherapy in the context of information information science is the narrative cycle from a person to being re-empowered to for others. One can take meaning from the narrative of other person's life, but without documenting it, all is impossible. That is, it is necessary to have a process of documenting and organizing narratives from previous clients in the form of the book and non-book material as a medium for bibliotherapy. That's become information service resources that can be medium for subsequent clients with similar or identical or same problem. The emphasis of concordance is on a list of keywords about the problem experienced by clients of 4 different types of blood type, complemented by verses from the Quran as a trigger for their reflection. The narrative cycle is Quranic bibliotherapy as follow. For example, a client A having a problem. So Their narrative, the narrative of the problem, yeah, verbally or textually, writing, recording, narrating, documenting. Then the client A searching and finding the Quranic verse and obtaining it spontaneously. This verse is helpful as a trigger for reflection and insight into the problem. The bibliotherapy service provider conduct coding and organizing information using the method latent semantic analysis or keyword in context using a form document. Quranic journaling clients become wording in the form of a classification of theme and verses of the Quran as a word guide of concordance. Client B, having a problem, searching for keyword of the problem using Quranic bibliotherapy concordance, finding keywords and verses independently or guided by a bibliotherapist, reflecting and gaining insight narrative, writing, recording, telling, writing poems, documenting, and bibliotherapy service provider coding and organizing bibliotherapy result client use, LSA quick to add vocabulary in Quranic bibliotherapy concordance like this. All clients become one together and connected. So let um let me show you. Um yeah, this is our literature review. Okay. Okay, for concordance is a list of all words in the Quran with page number and chapter and verse number, allowing one to find out where and how each word. Concordance refers to reference book and word guides. The history of writing a guidebook or concordance, which, although not the first, is quite well known in is the concordance entitled Concordati Qurani Arabica, which is accompanied by an introduction in Latin, which is still used in the West. The other was Gustavus Vogel, a German scholar. Meanwhile, Ali Audah in 1996 mentioned that in Indonesia, a concordance is published in which each word is accompanied by a small number of verses along with the name of the surah and the verses number. This concordance is very well known, entitled Fatur Rahman Litalib il Quran complied by Ilmi Zadeh Faidullah. At the same time, in 1906, the Miftahul Quran or key to the Holy Quran was published in India, which was complied by Ahmad Shah with an English introduction accompanied by an Arabic English glossary. The concordance compiled by Flugel and Ahmad Shah only mention a word in each verse accompanied by the surah number and verse number. It was only in the year 1364 or 1945 that Muhammad Fuad Abdul Baqi published Al-Mujamil Mufahras li Al-Faz al-Quranul Karim, which was complied more completely with the verses mostly quote intact, accompanied by a large number of verses of each word, the name and the number of the surah, and the verses number accompanied by a description of the Mecca and Medina surah. Everything is arranged according to the rules of Arabic neuroscience. In this study, there are two objectives of concordance construction. First, a Quran verse that represent the narrative of the life of the bibliotherapy client. Secondly, a narrative context pattern based on the type of client blood type as biological information. And the methodology, the methodology. Grounded theory research method has several stages of collecting data and analysis, including organizing data, reading information and coding, open coding, researchers from categories of information about the event studies, axial coding, researchers identify and even investigate the condition that cause it, identify each condition, and describe the event. Selective coding, researchers identify the storyline and integrate categories in the axial coding model. And furthermore, the researchers develops and describe as a reference to explain the condition of the problem pattern from the narrative of each blood group, the experience of spiritual information for each blood group, and the condition of personality, mentality, morality, spirituality that affect human interaction even with the Quran through journaling bibliotherapy. In this study, the tool begins by looking at the existing condition of the existing Quranic bibliotherapy patterns as material for further study and analysis, qualitative approach. Controlling individual characteristics such as gender, race, religious understanding, educational background, and reading and writing facilities is not the focus of attention on the coding of the concordance of this Quran. All keywords in the contents are the result of the researcher's coding obtained directly from the client narrative representing the four type of blood type, the Quranic verses that appear are Quranic verses that the client spontaneously obtained during the Quranic bibliotherapy process. What the finding? Yeah, the finding organizing information on Quranic verses for bibliotherapy purpose. Yeah, the researchers have successfully construct the Quranic concordance based ABO blood type, the Quranic verses in identical to the owner of the blood type of each type based on the change of the appearance of the Quranic verses based on the client daily program or narratives. The spontaneous opening of the translate Quran allows the client to focus on the relationship between spontaneously selected verses, words, and reflective quotient that allow the client to take a break to observe, make adjustment, and see things from a different point of view. Most importantly, all of them can do in a fluid and fun way. At least the finding from the process of spontaneous discovery of Quranic verses and reflection of lighter words in the Quran as key word in context include in this case, data processing and thematic analysis can be done manually or using an FIFO software, which help researchers determine the thematic codes and the process of latent semantic analysis in utilizing NFIFO, a concordance indexer for Quranic bibliotherapy, at least perform the following steps. First, grouping Quranic journaling from document in folder based on blood type categories. The second one, import files. In the process of importing the file from disk, researchers enter journaling from files that blood type grouping and encode each category of nodes. Furthermore, each category notes the journaling from is code based on critical terms and context analysis is needed to match document with pre-existing categories. The focus categories based on the client's practical experience writing the Quranic journaling include storytelling, narrative, the context of the problem or issue experienced, and the Quran verses obtained spontaneously, uses translation or interpretation, then analyze and determines the keyword of the Quranic verse. Six, the researchers analyze the narrative or story the client writes in the Quran journal, then determines the keyword according to the thematic context of the existing mental issues. And the last 7, the researchers group word based on keyword from the meaning of the translation of the Quran verse, context from the stories or issue written by the client, and code names of letters and verses of the Quran. Uh, for discussion in this finding, I would like to say that the limited study uses the Indonesian language and has not implemented transliteration outside the territory of Indonesia, such as Arabic as the language of the Quran. The verse of this Quranic accordance is not according to the rules of Arabic neuroscience, like all concordance books, based on empirically field data, based on the writing of client with blood types AB, and O. All words compiled so that the words patterns that appear are limited to the Quran verse has nothing to do with root words, morphology, science, or grammar, but hopefully further research can collaborate with Quran commentators to prepare remarkable Quran concordance for therapeutic or bibliotherapy purposes. Um, I think that's all. I recommend that researchers must choose among extension of classification, clustering, and factor analysis to latent semantic analysis, which is more appropriate to answer their research question. If the study aim to match document or Quranic journaling with the pre-existing categories, they must carry out document classification extension to LSA based on the client blood type. If the goal is to generate new database group of document, they must group document by type of blood group. If the aim is to understand to latent structure of their corpus, they should carry out an extension of factor analysis from each category in Quranic journaling as a part of bibliotherapy, narrative, stories, Quran verse, information research, reflection, action, and change. Okay, I think thank you for your attention. And yeah, that is all I can say. Hopefully it will be helpful. Information professional rule as bibliotherapy providers make information service research as soul healers more noble, blessed, and abundant. Insyaallah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, asyhadu alla ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Healing from your heart through Quranic bibliotherapy. Thank you.